This episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures was brought to you by the Adventure Armory. Rifle, scope, and ammo packages for hunters. Welcome back to this week's episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures. If you watched last week's program, you saw Travis Price complete the first leg of his journey to British Columbia. He climbed steep up a dangerous mountainside and harvested a wonderful, world-class mountain goat.
There we go, boys. Oh my God. Got him, boys.
Just a beautiful goat. Can't be any happier. Thank you again.
But now we're back down on the meadows and the lakes and the river bottoms, and it's later in September, and the moose should be coming into the rut any time now.
Well, yesterday was an epic adventure for sure. Coming down off the mountain, I slipped a few times, of course, and banged up my scope, so I wanted to make sure I re-verify zero this morning before we head out to moose hunt, so that's what I'm gonna do now.
Travis is hunting with his most trusted rifle, an Adventure Armory custom Bergara B14 Alaskan Hunter, chambered in .300 Winchester Magnum and topped with the Burris Eliminator 3 laser scope. It has a Cerakote Elite finish and is shooting custom hand-loaded Pendleton ammunition.
Well, as you can see here, rifle's still exactly where I left it after a couple slip and slides on the goat hunt, so wanted to re-verify zero, and it's spot on, so we're gonna head out and moose hunt today, so can't wait to get back out there.
This week's gun segment was sponsored by Barry's Versa Cradle. Whether we're at the bench or at the range, it's the perfect tool for every job. The big meadows are perfect moose habitat, and it's mid to late September, so the rut should start any day. And when that happens, Travis wants to be sitting in a spot where he can see a lot of country, glassing and calling. And I know that if he puts in the time, this hunt will pay off. After sitting for a few hours and no luck, Travis and Lucas decide to cover ground and start calling. Just before dark, they decide to relocate to another stand to sit for the rest of the evening.
walking, did tons of calling. It rained for most of the day. It was pretty windy, but still no answer. So it's time just to stay positive, hope for the best, and kind of regroup and get a plan for the next couple days. Sounds like we might be going to a spike camp, so looking forward to the next couple days, see what we can find.
This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Bergara Rifles, a passion for precision, every barrel, every rifle. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures is brought to you by Pendleton Ammunition and our new line of TSS turkey loads. The next morning, Travis packed up the Argo and headed out to a spike camp that was near a big meadow complex. It was here that Travis and Lucas climbed into yet another stand. The mountains were covered with a dusting of snow, and the cold weather was promising in terms of potential moose action. After he climbed into the stand, Travis ranged the area with the eliminator, checked shooting lanes, and prepared to sit for the rest of the morning. Midday, without any moose action, Travis and Lucas decided to get down and start hiking and calling. Once again, trying to find a receptive bull that would come to the cow call. So we're gonna check it out. If not, we'll come back here, and then there's another big meadow that opens up even further in the back. And just keep calling, stay positive. Lucas continuously called as they covered several miles of river bottoms and meadows. Honestly, one of the hardest working guides we have ever seen in the field. But the rut just had not started yet. But it is that time of year, and it could kick off at any moment. British Columbia has been good to us. With Steve's Outdoor Adventures clients and myself having shot countless numbers of bulls in the province over the years. And I know that if Travis is patient, he will get a shot at filling his moose tag. All right, so we just arrived to moose camp. We're gonna be staying the night here in a wall tent. Pretty exciting. It sits right on this large meadow that we just hunted, and then there's another one that we'll probably go to tonight. So this is a remote area, and hopefully we can call in a bull from here. After getting settled into spike camp, they head out to work yet another large meadow complex and set up in yet another elevated stand. But darkness sets in on yet another day without any moose action. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Marathon Seat Covers. We've got you covered. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Pendleton Ammunition. Loading bullets, one round at a time.
You know, some hunts are more mentally taxing than others, of course, and we're kind of getting to that point. We've put in a lot of time, and my thoughts are is the rut just hasn't fully kicked in, and it's been difficult to try and pull in a bull, but we're going to stay on it, stay positive. We're headed back to the same place we were yesterday evening, and hopefully there's a bull in the meadow when we get there.
We have one rule at Steve's Outdoor Adventures. When we go in the field, we never quit early. We always hunt to the very last day, and Travis's level of effort on this hunt followed that rule perfectly.
The weather on this hunt was definitely a challenge. It rained, I would say 85% of the time. It was windy most of the time as well, and it even snowed the last 3 days. But like I said, you just have to stay with it, stay confident, believe in your methods, and just go to the bitter end, and good things will happen. One thing that I liked about this moose hunt specifically is you can hunt 3 different ways or 3 different styles. And all of them are unique and all of them are good, they're just different. So if you want to sit over a meadow and do calling for moose, you can do that, which we did. We also walked in the bush and along trails and called and went along chains of meadows in the backcountry. And then you can also hunt the shorelines via boat. So it changes it up. It's not the same thing over and over, and it puts you in a position to be more successful when you can hunt different ways.
So we're packing up our spike camp that we stayed at last night. Beautiful area here, but of course nothing came in. We're gonna head back to the stand that we were at yesterday morning. Hopefully the calls that we were doing yesterday pulled in a bull, and we'll see something tonight, so we'll see what happens. When the black bear came out, I could see that he was a good boar. I had a tough decision to make. The moose hunting had been slow, and I had a black bear tag in my pocket. It was a big boar, and within easy rifle range. But my priority was getting a moose.
Personally, with the moose hunting as slow as it was, when that black bear walked out, I'm shocked that Travis didn't pull the trigger. A lot of hunters out there would look at it as a bird in the hand, but Travis had an ultimate goal, and that was to get a big moose, and he knew that a gunshot would most likely spoil any moose hunting for the rest of the day. So I give him a lot of credit for laying off the trigger and sticking to his plan.
We woke up this morning to some different weather. It's absolutely colder, much more clear, actually frosted. So I'm pretty excited to get out there and should get the moose moving around and rutting a little heavier. We're headed back to a stand that we started with. I have the utmost confidence in Lucas's decision to put us on a bull today. Can't wait to get out there.
It's clear, it's a lot colder, and we're pretty deep into the month of September. This moose rut should have started by now or start any moment. Will Travis Price get a shot at a big bull moose before his hunt is over? Find out after this short commercial break. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Burris Optics. Find what matters. This segment is sponsored by Adventure Armory. Rifle, scope, and ammunition packages shipped, ready to shoot. If you'd like to book this week's adventure for yourself, give our office a call. We will gladly take your calls, answer your questions, and help you book the hunting or fishing adventure of a lifetime. After a cold ride across the lake in the dark, Travis and his guide Lucas slipped into the stand under the cover of darkness. They have high expectations. The conditions are perfect. Their expectations are extremely high, but after hunting there for a few hours and no luck, they decide to climb down and hike to yet another meadow complex. Surely, in one of these spots, they would hit pay dirt.
We walk halfway into the meadow where there's a stand set up, and it's basically a tree stand. And we walk up the tree stand and get into position and begin to call over and over and over again. The weather wasn't very good. It was very windy, and usually animals like to hunker down when it's windy, snowing, and raining. And for most of the day, that was the weather. And then at about 5:30 or so, all of a sudden the wind completely stopped and the sun started shining. And I thought to myself at that moment, this is when game begins to move around because they feel safe and they can hear and things like that. And so lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. As soon as that weather changed, the wind died down, Lucas started calling again. And about 20 minutes later, Jace actually spotted some movement in the tree line about 400 yards away. And about 3 or 4 minutes later, it kind of popped out again, and Lucas saw it, as did Jace, and it was a bull, confirmed that it was a bull. So we quickly moved around, and I got into shooting position, and it looked like the bull was actually kind of leaving the area or just walking by and wasn't truly engaged in Lucas's calling, but that wasn't the case, because Lucas leaned out the window and gave another call, and he kind of beelined. So he went from 400 to 300 yards quickly and kind of hung up again. Lucas gave another call. He came in another 100 yards on a beeline, and we knew we had him hooked. So he was coming in quick. Once he got to about 200 yards, hung up again. Lucas called one more time, and he came in on a trot to about 145 yards, and that's when I had the eliminator and ranged him at 145 and had the dot on his chest.
Yeah, boys. Reload. Yeah!
Nice! That's how it's done!
All the wait was worth it.
Moose tend to get a lot bigger as you get closer to them. There's not a lot of ground shrinkage with them, and I could tell that this was the case by the look on Travis's face as he walked up to his first bull moose.
And once I pulled the trigger and he dropped right away, I was really happy because a clean kill is always something that I wish for. And once we climbed down the stand and started walking towards him, it was like a huge relief had been lifted from my shoulders. And I couldn't wait to get up to him and just check out this magnificent creature and all his massiveness. And he was my first moose and couldn't be happier with him. And wanted to thank everybody that was involved at that time because it was a very special moment for me personally. And I can't wait to be able to connect others when I get back to the office to this hunt, not only from a moose hunt standpoint, maybe a goat or maybe a black bear, just to be able to experience this awesome land that I was able to do so.
Travis and his guides went to great lengths to make sure that all of the meat was cared for properly and quartered and ready to pack out when they returned the next morning. And they took those heavy packs a great distance back to the boat and to base camp. This is meat that Travis is bringing home to put in his freezer to feed his family and friends for the next year. And when he returned home, he reported back to me that this was not only an outfitter that he had a lot of confidence in, but this was an outfitter that we should put our stamp of approval on and start offering his hunts. So, if you'd like to book a moose hunt, or mountain goat hunt, or even a combination trip like the one you just watched Travis complete, give our office a call. We're always available to take your calls, answer your questions, and help you book the hunting or fishing adventure of a lifetime. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week's show. But please remember to join us again next week when we bring you another exciting episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures.